Hello everyone! As you can see, this video might differ a lot from the previous ones I have been posting on this channel with regards to the content, and that's because there might be a risk that I need to postpone the main series on this channel for a week or two, and I didn't want to make you waiting, so I thought that would be a good idea to share with you my new hobby that has caught my interest, and I told about it in the past, related to Gundam models. And therefore I came up with the idea to make a new series on this channel, and this video will serve as the first entry in it. So I would like to introduce you to the new series on this channel called Breaking Backlog. I will share some more details in the next section, so let's just jump into it. Why Breaking Backlog? Well, during the time that I've been doing videos on this channel and I've been doing stuff around the house, I was looking around online hobby shops and I bought some models on a discount price, but bit by bit I increased my backlog significantly, like 3 times of the original one that I've shared on the first video. And I told myself, Simon, you need to stop, you need to build what you have right now, and after you reduce the backlog, you can consider buying new, but not as often as you did in the past. That's the reason behind this series and the name of the series. I want to reduce this backlog to have the clear mind and soul, and this is a good opportunity to add new content to this channel. Before you see the main content of this video, I want to share with you some basic information about this hobby, mainly about the Gunpla, so you won't be confused and maybe you will cut up interest and start building yourself. So what is the Gunpla anyway? Gunpla, or in Japanese Gunpla, is an abbreviation of the term Gundam plastic model. And as the name suggests, it's related to the very popular anime series called Mobile Suit Gundam. And these models represent the mobile suits that are in the series. This franchise, I would say, it's very popular in the Asia region of the world, and it's gaining more popularity among North America and EU. We can jump into Gundam series itself and try to discover the nuances and popularity of the series, but I tell you, it's not necessary to jump into the Gunpla itself. I am the sole example of it. I would like to share different kind of information that it's more useful, especially for the beginners. That is the grading system. In the world of Gunpla, we can differentiate the models by different metrics, but the most popular one is the system that was introduced by the sole company that is making these models, that is Bandai Namco, and this grading system is representing the difficulty of building the model. And I can say we use the 5 most popular grades that represent this difficulty. That is super deformed, high grade, real grade, master grade, and perfect grade. And as I said, the super deformed is the lowest one, that is the simplest model to build, and the perfect grade is the most difficult one because you have so many parts that you need to cut off, clean, prepare, assemble, and you have to put decals on the model at the end. It can take you up to a few weeks. So that's the grading system we are using. And from my experience for now, although I am a very beginner one, I can recommend high grade or super deformed as the first model to make, because you don't have decals or you have just stickers to put on the model. You don't have so many parts that you are overwhelmed during the cutting process and cleaning, and you are not risking breaking the parts. That is, these parts are not as detailed as parts in the higher grade. Therefore, you are good to go to simply cut it and assemble the model. In this video, I would like to show you my process of making the model, assembling it and so on. And I will use the lowest grade model, that is super deformed. And I would like to use the models I've shown you at the first video, that is Shinanju and Ariel. And we will start with the Shinanju model. So I'm not keeping it right now, let's just jump into it. Due to bad audio quality of camera microphone, I decided to create separate recordings. With this, I want to clarify stuff that are not clearly visible in video, and I want to add additional information that can help you understand my workflow. So let's jump into model presentation and workspace preparation. So let's see the model first. At the beginning, you can see the CGI render of the model. We're going to assemble some art on the side of the box. Here you can see the complete assembly with poses that you can use. And how you can combine with the other models like the high grade. The same art on the other side, and you can see some warnings in Japanese. On the inside, we have instruction book. Here is only the one page that is folded. Here you can see the previous poses that have been shown on the side of the box. And in the inside, you see the whole instruction how to assemble, add stickers and add joints to create the whole model. In addition, you have one extra page with the gimmicks, so how you can do other stuff if you want to play with this model. Next, we have runners. Runners usually split in several classes, several groups. Here we have the main parts of the engine and hands, and on the other side here we have joint related runner that contains the ball joints and other rubbery parts that are used to add the joints together. Next we have the main body parts. We have a shield, legs, torso, and head, and the stickers. These are the shiny ones. Now that we have our runners unpacked, we need some tools to assemble the model. First, we need nippers to cut off plastic parts from the runners. Here you can see the nippers from Bandai Spirits. These are the first one that I use on a daily basis when I make models. Next, hobby knife. I use hobby knife to remove knob marks from the model. This is the first way I learned how to clean the model further. Next we have tweezers. These are used to put stickers on the model, especially this type of stickers that we have in the SD one, the big and very sticky. Next we have a sanding paper. This is the other way to remove the knob marks, by rubbing them out of the model. Here we have the sanding sticks. This is the other way to use the sanding method, but you have the stick to firmly grasp it. And the last one, the polishing prism. You have several surfaces to make the different type of polishing effect on your model. In addition to previous tools, I use two extra to clean up my workspace. First is paintbrush. I use it to brush all this plastic that is left after the cutting, and I gather it to this plastic container. And later on I throw this extra plastic away. Now that we have all the tools, we can cut parts. First of all, you need to know where to place your cut, because you can get stress marks if you cut it too close. As you can see, we cannot cut it too close. You need to give some distance. Over here. And the next part. And the next part. And we cutted the part. Now we need to cut all other parts, and later on we're gonna remove knob marks. Now that all parts have been cut from the main runners, we can start removing knobs. We have two ways to do so. First, we'll try to use hobby knife. So as you can see, you have a shield and the hobby knife over here. I will try to show you how to do it. First, we will remove the axis of the knob, because for safety we cut it. Right now we can cut it a little bit more. A little bit closer, maybe here, or we can even do it further. Yeah, so we managed to do so, and we will use hobby knife. Okay, now we're gonna use the knife. To cut the knob marks, you need to place the knife so you can glide it to the point where the knob connects with the part, and you have to either slide it or you can perform the cutting movement when you place the knife on the knob. So as you can see, I'm trying to cut it slowly. Oh, it removed. So now we're gonna glide it a little bit to remove the small excess of this plastic, and now you can see it's clean. Look, little visible to the eye unless you place it on the right angle under the light. Okay, so now we can do the rest of the knobs. So we're cutting the excess over here, and now we can use the knife, slowly cutting it, not too deep to the part, because you can cut the part itself and later on you're gonna either try to glue it or you will have to cut it and you will leave the bruise over there. A little bit, we are trying to glide the knife. That's it. And the last one, as you can see, gliding the knife, trying to cut it instead of go deep into the part. If you're not sure if you're cutting it properly, you can switch it from one side to the other. You will mitigate the stress mark with this movement. Okay, so you can use the nail if you want to remove the stress mark, as you can see on the video. And we have a clean part. The second method of removing the knob marks is to use sanding paper. We will try to literally rub them out using the paper. This method is useful if you have a lot of time or there's a risk of using a hobby knife in the process of removing the knob mark, because you can damage the part itself during the process. The most important thing about this method is to use sanding paper of different graininess, because if you use only one type, there's a risk that you can damage the part. So the good practice is to have at least 3 levels of graininess: the low, the medium, and high. As you can see, I have 3 types of sanding paper, and they differ with regards to graininess. And the graininess is indicated by the number on the back of the paper. So I have P600, P1200, and P2000. P600 is used to remove the knob mark to the level of the plastic part. The P1200 will be used to remove the stress marks. P2000 will be used to smooth things out, to polish the plastic. Now I'm folding the paper to hold it in my hand. I'll take the part and try to remove the knob. I'm trying to glide it, not too close and not too strong, because there's a risk of scratching the other part of this plastic part. And we try to minimize this. Now I'm using P1200 to remove stress marks. And now to finish removing the nub mark, I'm using the sanding paper P2000. And now to finish the whole process, we will use the polishing prism. The polishing prism has at least two sides to polish the surface flat or glossy. So I'll try to polish this part using the flat at the beginning and later on using the glossy side of the polishing prism. And it's done. Maybe it's not a perfect job, but it's good for me. So you can choose either using hobby knife or using the sanding paper method to remove the nub marks. Now we have all parts prepared. Next step, top coat. Now we're gonna do top coating. We're gonna do top coating twice, but first we will do top coating before stickers and panel lining and assembly. And we will use gloss top coat from Mr. Hobby. I was told on the forums and other chats that the Mr. Hobby is one of the best top coats to use for Gunpla models. And for this, we need to have protective gear. First, we need to have the mask with the filter to filter out the fumes, protective glasses to protect our eyes. I use protective goggles, as you can see here, with this strap. Last but not least, we need some gloves because we will handle parts in our hand and we will use top coat on a part. There's a risk that we will spray the top coat on hand, therefore gloves are needed. Okay, the next tool we need are clips. Clips make our lives easier because we can handle parts easier instead of using our hands during the top coat process. And I will use two types. Here you can see is the type without the covers on the teeth to handle the part better, and the next is the clip with the covered teeth. Cover is used to not scratch the part when you put the part in the clip. Sometimes you have parts that you cannot use the clip with the sharp teeth, so it's better to use the one with the covers to cover the part and do not let any scratches. In the process of top coating, I will use several of them because we have several parts and it will be easier to handle part per clip instead of trying to combine them to use as little as possible. Okay, so now let's start putting parts on clips. Okay, final result before top coat. Voila! I wanted to do top coating in the house, so I managed to get one of the most important tools, that is spray booth. As you can see, this is DIY model made from cardboard, glued and duct tape, but I also managed to put some lighting and exhaust fan to ease my work. You need to remember that spray booth must have appropriate ventilation system, because if it doesn't have, then fumes will gather more and you can be at risk of getting dizzy or losing consciousness. Okay, time to adjust my workplace. Good practice is to warm up your top coat 10 minutes before using it. First, because you will gain more pressure from the warmed up can, and second, the top coat will be easier to spray on the model, as it's not as easy when it's not warmed up. The last thing to do is to put our protective clothes and now we are ready to do the top coat. At the beginning, you start spraying top coat from a distance of about 15 to 30 centimeters. And you try to perform movement like you try to brush it with this spray can, from top to bottom or from left to right. It depends on your preference. And you need to remember to rotate your plastic piece each time when you perform this movement, so you can be sure that the top coat is spread on the piece evenly. the part is very reflective under the light and you don't spot any visible defects like the spots with no reflection, you can be sure that you did a good job and you can move to the next part. I usually do top coating very late at night, so I leave parts to dry up for almost a day or sometimes even longer because I don't have time every day to do this stuff. So when it's dry, we will move to the next part, that is panel lining. Now we're gonna add some details to our model with panel lining, and we need some tools. First, Tamiya Black Panel Line Accent Color to do the main part. Gundam Marker Black Thin to fix mistakes and add some touch-up. To clean up stains, we're gonna use odorless thinner. And to use the thinner, we're gonna use cotton swabs. I'm gonna use two types of cotton swabs. First one is a common one that you can get in the shop, very cheap. The second one is from Mr. Hobby, and the second one is very precise because they have very pointy ends that you can use to clean up crevices that are hard to access with the normal cotton swab. Now let's check on our parts. As you can see, the surface is very shiny and reflects the light easily. That indicates that the top coat covered parts properly, and we can start doing panel lining. Before we start, first we need to shake the bottle with the paint properly. With this we ensure that the paint is mixed properly. If we don't do it, then we might risk having light panel lines and we would have to redo the whole process again. After mixing the paint, we carefully open the bottle and remove the excess from the brush, so we don't have any accidental stains. And now we can apply the paint on every slit, crevice and bevel that we desire to paint. Sometimes you can encounter bevels and slits that are too shallow for the panel line. You can either try to paint it with the panel line and remove the excess with the thinner, or you can leave it and use Gundam marker to fix it later. You will encounter situations where you can't handle your part easily in your hand. I recommend using tools like clips to hold the part and easily rotate it, therefore you will minimize the risk of smudging the paint away from the crevice. Sometimes, when I pour the paint on a slit, it can get stuck and it starts to accumulate in one spot. When this happens, I like to use toothpicks or skewers to further remove the paint. With this, I minimize using another dose of the paint, therefore wasting it later on when I do the cleanup. parts are ready. Now I can sit, relax, and probably go to sleep. And let the paint dry out. I usually do all this stuff in the evening. So I leave parts for around a day to dry out. And I will go back later and do the next part, that is cleaning. Yeah. We let the paint dry, now we can check the results. As you can see, the parts don't look as bland as before, and they catch an eye. There are some smears and stains. You don't have to worry about them, because we're gonna fix them right now. And to do so, we're gonna use odorless thinner, and Gundam marker. So let's fix these panel lines. Now we're gonna clean stains, smears, and mistakes. How do I do it? First, I open the bottle with a thinner. Then, I dip one end of the cotton swab in it and try to remove the excess of the thinner by rubbing it around the walls. Then, I close the bottle with the thinner, so I won't risk spilling it by accident. Then, I apply the thinner on the paint that I want to remove with the wet part of the cotton swab. After that, I remove the paint with the dry part of the cotton swab. You can use the wet part of the cotton swab to remove the paint, but you're risking removing too much of the paint, and therefore you will have to fix more panel lining in the process. When the crevice is too small and you cannot use normal cotton swab to remove the paint, you can use small professional cotton swabs, like the ones I showed you before from Mr. Hobby. No. Sometimes I feel that the panel line is too thick and I can't clean the right amount of the paint. So I just clean the whole panel line and I fix it later. Cleaning is finished. Now we can leave the part to dry a bit and we're gonna fix panel lining. We let the part dry a bit. Now we can start fixing panel lining. First, we need to check if the Gundam marker isn't dry. It happens to me once that the marker was dry, and from that point onward, I always have the extra new one laying around. Next, we try to put the tip of the marker into the bevel, and lastly, we move the marker along the bevel. And that's it. That's how you apply the marker on the bevel and fix the panel lining. As with the Tamiya paint, you can make mistakes using Gundam markers, but you don't have to worry about them. These are easier to clean. You can use either eraser, especially dust-free, or you can use your own fingernails to rub off the line you don't want to, or you can use toothpicks or skewers. If you have a situation when the Gundam marker doesn't apply on the panel line, you just take the piece of paper and try to check if the Gundam marker isn't dry. If it works, you try to do the panel line again. Okay, this part is done. Now we need to do the rest. We did, we cleaned, and we fixed panel lining. Now it is time to assemble the model and put some stickers. So grab your tweezers and follow the instructions. The model is assembled. It looks nice. It's not as accurate as it's shown on the box art because we don't have a paint to do the details. If you want, you can leave it like this, but I will try to apply the flat top coat on it. I will show you how to prepare this model for the top coating process. When it comes to doing the final top coat, you have two ways to do so. Either you apply the top coat on the whole assembled model, or you split the model into parts and spray the top coat on each part separately. I prefer to do it the second way, as I am sure that each part is covered properly with the top coat. When you decide to split the model before top coating, you need to make sure to mask off pegs and joints. If you don't do it, pegs and joints get tight and you might risk not able to assemble the model again. For this, I use Tamiya masking tape and hobby knife to cut it into pieces of appropriate length. Parts are ready, now we can do the top coating. I will skip the recording as this is the same process as you've seen before. I will see you in a minute. We are almost there. The last part, removing the masking tape and assembling the model. Everything is done. The whole process was applied. Now we can sit and relax. If you want to save some time, you can skip some steps, like top coating. As you can see, this model isn't as posable as models from the other grades, but the chibi aesthetics makes up for it. You can either place it on a shelf like this, or you can get action base and put it on a stand. Using a stand can help you make more dynamic poses, like flying through the air or taking a shot. Now after presentation, time to put model on the display. there is still some space for the new models, and there are some stands to use. But sooner or later, there will be none. Next time I'll probably have to think about getting extra shelf. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope you caught up interest in this hobby and you want to go and buy the first model of yours. And with this, I hope the word about the Gunpla will spread further and more people will cut up interest. Therefore, Bandai would hopefully provide us with more models, especially these rare particular ones that even veterans can get. And for me, I have to go back to making the videos for the main series, for the devlogs. I have to do some recordings and start editing the video. And in the meantime, I have to reduce my backlog. I need to break my backlog. As you can see, these are just the part of the backlog I have to do. I will try to post more videos from more interesting builds, and I'll share the new skills I got in the meantime. And right now, I'll have to go. If you want to get information about this kind of videos, you can subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and you can like this video. And you will probably have the notifications about the videos, new videos in the future. Okay, I need to take a break. That was too much for me, even for my dog over here. So, thanks a lot and have a great day, and see you next time.